his game for the Orioles. Manny Machado, 6 home runs. Batting right now is .329. It's excellent. Mark Trumbo has been, I feel, the linchpin that has helped the Orioles continue being a great team. Another one is Joey Rickard. He has been phenomenal, starting at number 1. He's been getting ribbies. He's been getting on base right away. He actually just got 3 runs tonight. Their pitching staff, though, needs some help. Chris Tillman is a decent pitcher. Chen is okay. What they need to do is to find a better middle reliever and or a better starting pitcher before the trade ends if they want to go deep into the playoffs, I feel.
The Houston Astros, again, were a team that many thought got to the postseason a little bit early and wasn't supposed to do what they did, considering how dreadful they were, but finally their picks are panning out. That being said, what do you think they're a team that can come back from this early season slump, or is this team going to go back to the 100 loss season that they have been the last couple of years before that?
Well, it is only April, not even the beginning of May just yet, so they still have a good 4 months before they start to worry. It is a pretty bad start, 6-15, as you said. 4-6 at home, 2-9 on the road. They have lost 3 in a row so far, and in the last 10 they're 2-8. So it seems like they're in a slump right now. Come May and June, that's when the veteran players show their stuff. They are just getting shaken off the dust right now in April, because right now you're seeing home runs hit like every single game by the same player, Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, but you'll start to see a decline from the road and from all the games that they're going to be playing. That being said, Houston Astros do have a tough division. Seattle Mariners, Oakland Athletics, Texas Rangers, and the Los Angeles Angels. They're all close together, being around 11 wins, and Los Angeles being 10. So I'm going to say that the Houston Astros can dig their way out, especially with their pitching staff that was excellent for them last year. It's just going to be a tough climb for right now.
1 month in, again, not that much to go off of, but who in your mind has been the MVP and then the NL and the AL thus far this season?
Choose one from both?
Yeah, one from each.
Okay. Chris Sale, pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. He has been pitching for the White Sox for, I want to say, the past 5 years. He's been an excellent pitcher. He's had some really bad stuff in the past, especially the past year where he was, I believe, close to 500 wins and losses range. But right now, his ERA is 1.66. He's struck out 32 in 5 games that he's played. Right now, if I were to give him an MVP, I would. And for the NL, I would say, I'm going to say McCutchen. Basically an offensive, defensive machine. Last night, he had a huge game with 3 home runs, including 2 that were back-to-back. He would be second in my MVP. I would actually give it to Bryce Harper.
Okay.
He's a monster. He is a home run machine. He gets on base. He just blasts home run to help win the game, and instead they lose it. The Nationals lose it because their defense was horrible. Their pitching staff sucked. But Bryce Harper is the heart and soul of the Washington Nationals and the MVP of the NL so far.
Okay. Awesome. We're going to take a switch here. We're going to switch from baseball to soccer here. Have you been paying attention to any Champions League, Tom?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I'm gonna go here and talk about this for about 5 minutes, and then we'll take a break here. Champions League semifinals the last 2 days have been pretty good. It's essentially the equivalent of the soccer Final Four. The most prominent teams in Europe play in the tournament, and we're down to the last four. You're looking at Atletico Madrid and Bayern, who play today. How it works is it's 2 legs here, one at each stadium, one at each home, and whoever wins on aggregate, overall aggregate, goes on to the final, which will be played in Milan on the 28th of May, so about a month from today. And Atletico Madrid won 1-0 today, so they have the inside track to get to the final here. Bayern Munich is Germany's best team, have been in the semifinals the last couple of years, and again can contend year in and year out. One of the problems that they had today is just that this Atletico Madrid team is as physical as it comes, and I think that's one of the problems that you see with Bayern Munich is when they come up against physical teams, and sometimes it does frustrate other teams, hence Barcelona in the last round. So I think, for me, the favorite right now is Atletico, just because they look like they're a team that overall has the ability to be as physical with their opponents, and their defense is really solid. Their one striker up top, Fernando Torres, is an X factor. If he can score a couple goals here and there, he'll get them to the finals, especially away goals having a lot more value than home goals. The other leg yesterday, Manchester City from England taking on Real Madrid. Real Madrid has been one of the hottest teams in the world right now, particularly how they beat Barcelona in El Clasico a couple weeks ago, and that propelling their momentum all the way through. Now, granted, they did not have superstar Cristiano Ronaldo in this first leg at the Etihad Stadium in England, but they dominated this team, outshooting them 13-3 on the day, and Joe Hart for Manchester City had come up with 2 major saves to keep this team in it. So for Real Madrid not to get a goal was honestly, at the end of the day, for me, disappointing. I think they could have come up with a goal or two and to put them in really good position for the second leg in Madrid next week. That being said, my picks to get to the finals, I'm going with Real Madrid. Assuming that they get Cristiano Ronaldo back, this team is as loaded offensively. Their wingers are just as speedy as any in the world. And again, when Cristiano's on, the rest of the team gets better. And assuming that they're all healthy, Zidane knows how to put them in. Head coach Zinedine Zidane knows how to put them in the right spot. In the Atletico Bayern game, it's going to be really close. I'm picking Atletico barely to get to the finals, just because I'm not as confident in Bayern Munich. Similar to Paris Saint-Germain of France, the teams that have clinched their club titles in Europe pretty early in the regular season simply have not done well down the stretch, just because they haven't really had to play up to the level of the talent of their opponents, just because they've already won their league. Whereas teams from Spain and England, they still have a lot to play for, at least something to play for. So for me, I'm going to pick an all Madrid final here between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid to get to the final in Milan next month. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, our final topics of the day. Tom has his, and I have 2. Of course, I'm going to talk about Sean Livingston, number 1, and number 2. Which is the better burger? Is it Five Guys or In-N-Out? So we're going to talk about that in a second here. So we're going to play some music here. Martin Garrix, and here it is on the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Stern and Tom Crane on Spreaker Radio.
Flashback to the time in your life when you thought it would be easy, but it's hard when you take on the world alone. A one shot that you fire at the sky, hoping someone else can see it. Just a sign that you're not out there on your own. We come one tonight. I've been waiting for your wake up call. Growing stronger now. I can hear it in the thunderstorm. We sing, oh, I don't wanna do this with Some say you can never go back to the city built for dreamers, but I know we can find it on our own. A one shot that we fire at the sky, but this time we are together, right here in this moment where we belong. We come one tonight. I've been waiting for your wake-up call. Growing stronger now. I can hear it in the thunderstorm. We sing, oh, I don't wanna do this without you. I won't let go now that I found you. Now that I found you. I won't let go now that I found you. Now that I found you.
And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane, coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Why I'm laughing, are you asking? My roommate is a big Bayern fan, and apparently was too happy with what I said in terms of them not advancing. Look, I'm just saying, man. I don't know. They got to show me something, Eric. They got to show me something. But anyway, I'll try to keep it composure here for the final topic. Again, thank you so much for listening. It's about 6:16 out on the West Coast in Tucson, and about 9:16 out on the East Coast. Anyway, final topics here. My first one will be on Sean Livingston. I think when you watch movies like The Replacements, it's kind of it's really, for me, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And one of the reasons why is because it gives people a second opportunity. And I think that I think for someone who loves sports, it'd be awesome to play him professionally. It's just that I didn't have the natural talent, or maybe didn't have the drive as I thought I would. Which I feel like a lot of people do think that, But when you play at a high level and then you go through your trials and tribulations and then come back and perform really well, that's as inspirational as it gets in sports. And you can't help but root for that. And again, while Sean Livingston isn't one of the biggest names on the roster for Golden State, obviously you have Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, of course. You have a lot of players that you go through before you hear the name of Sean Livingston. But if you hear back on his career, it's pretty impressive. And I wrote an article about it. We'll publish it on the Spicy Sports page later. He was drafted out of high school. He was one of the last really good players to come out of high school and play really well. He was a talent that overall I would say was pretty good. This was a Clippers team that in 2006 made the playoffs. This was a team that had Elton Brand, Corey Maggette. It was a pretty good roster. And then when he played at the Charlotte Bobcats, I think it was in the 2007 season, he had suffered one of the most devastating injuries I've ever seen. He pretty much dislocated his kneecap, tore his ACL, MCL, LCL, pretty much dislocated his